also America's Game of the Week. And a good matchup for you today. The Green Bay Packers taking on the Dallas Cowboys. And welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck, Troy Aikman right there. Pam Oliver is coming up. Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. They know the Philadelphia Eagles have lost today up in Minnesota, so they have an opportunity in front of them despite all the frustration they've gone through. The league's last ranked defense trying to win their first divisional title since 2009. The Green Bay Packers, Troy, thought they might have Aaron Rodgers back for this game. He's inactive, collarbone not ready, so it's Matt Flynn. What are we going to see here today?
Well, I expect to see a lot of points here today, Joe. Neither defense has been very good this season. It's hard to imagine this not being a high-scoring affair. Now, there is some concern on the Packers' part in that Eddie Lacy comes into this game with a sprained ankle. He's been the workhorse for this offense, but they face a pass defense in the Cowboys that is the worst in all of football. Matt Flynn's going to have to throw the football, and I expect him to have success doing that.
For more on the Cowboys, let's go down to the field and Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, the talk around Dallas this week wasn't all that unfamiliar. What's wrong with the Cowboys, and can they avoid another December collapse? Well, having watched their overall division lead evaporate, this week head coach Jason Garrett demanded that Dallas live up to its potential. Referring to last week's blowout loss in 9-degree weather in Chicago, Garrett posed the question, are we going to be that kind of team who couldn't perform because we're cold? Well, Garrett stressed the Cowboys need to find their edge. He's challenged them to take ownership and do not squander yet another opportunity. Back to you.
All right, Pam, thank you. The Cowboys will start with the football. Green Bay will kick it away, and we'll get an early indication as to what the offensive attack will be for the Dallas Cowboys. As Troy mentioned, two defenses that have struggled. The Cowboys, one thing they haven't done is turn it over. It's something that Dom Capers and the Packers defense in years past have relied on. Out of the end zone, it's Terrence Williams, and the rookie got to about the 19.5. That's where the Cowboys will start. We welcome in a new audience as you will see the first play from scrimmage, and you'll see the Dallas Cowboys and Tony Romo, who comes in with the 8th best quarterback rating in the NFL. You see the numbers: 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He's playing some of the best football of his career, but on a ball club that's only a game over 500. First play, it's Murray. And DeMarco Murray knifes through this Green Bay defense and picks up a first down. A good start for a ground game, Troy, that's really picked it up over the last 3 games.
Well, they sure have, Joe. There's been a real commitment to running the football, and Monday night they ran it really early in that ball game against the Bears, as well as you could expect in any game. They called 4 straight running plays to open up that game, went right down the field and came away with a touchdown. They open up today's game with a run as well.
That game did not end well, however, for Dallas. On that frigid night that Pam talked about in Chicago, Bryant. And Des Bryant is good for 9. Tramon Williams on the coverage for Green Bay. And we look at some of the guys on this 11-man offense for the Dallas Cowboys, and it's Murray, Bryant. And up front, they really hit with these 2 picks. Smith at left tackle and Frederick at center.
Yeah, 2 of their last 3 first-round picks have gone on offensive linemen. Tyron Smith having an outstanding year, and Travis Frederick in the middle having a great rookie season.
He's played all 16. There's Murray and a first down. Here's a team that's had a tough time stopping the run, and prior to the second half last week at home against Atlanta, they had really struggled, averaging 440 yards per game allowed. And we look at this group. We want to pick up front, the linebackers and the back end. They've been challenged all the way across. Mike McCarthy in his 8th season. He's been in the postseason 5 of his first 7. They need some help if they're going to get there this year. On first down, play action. Romo over the middle's got the rookie. And Williams down to the 30. 3 big plays to start the day for this Dallas offense. 27 yards to Terrence Williams.
Well, Green Bay commits a safety up to try to play the run. The Cowboys go play action, and they got Terrence Williams on a deep crossing route, man-to-man coverage. It's a very difficult route to cover, and Terrence Williams picks up a nice gain.
The Dallas offense that, despite a better offensive line and weapons like Des Bryant, Jason Witten, and Miles Austin and Murray, comes in ranked just 22nd in the NFL. Here's Murray. Williams hung in there on the tackle, a gain of 4.
You know, Joe, you talked about that run defense for the Green Bay Packers, and yeah, they've been pretty porous until last week. They tightened things up a little bit against Atlanta, but even with that, Steven Jackson averaged close to 5 yards a carry in that game, and it's a bit surprising because through the first 6 games of this year, the run defense was one of the real strengths of the team.
On 2nd and 6, with a fullback in the game, a nice play is made. And the play was made by Josh Boyd. He's a rookie out of Mississippi State, a 5th-round pick, and he made that play, a loss of 3.
It's an outstanding job by Josh Boyd in the middle, and he's able to fight through the block and make a play. That's an outstanding job with an offense that's been moving the ball on this possession to force a 3rd and long.
3rd down and 9. Austin, pass broken up, and the play made by Micah Hyde. And the rookie was there step for step with Miles Austin, who has not been much of a threat of late.
And I don't think he's himself, Joe, and he's missed a lot of games this year. He's had the chronic hamstring injury, and normally you play Miles Austin, that kind of defense, one-on-one, and you give him the middle of the field with all the quickness and explosiveness that he has. You're not going to be able to cover him, but Micah Hyde was able to. It's a good job defensively. Gave up yards, but tightened up when they had to.
Now the 47-yard try by Bailey. He's had a big year. Very good, and now 20 of 22 for the season. Points in a blink for the Dallas offense. Drive stalled after some big plays. 3-zip. Cowboys on top.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
Well, the packed in, hoping to see the Dallas Cowboys come away with a win. Cowboys have lost only once here at home this season. A meeting with the defensive backs on the sideline after the Cowboys came away with 3 points, and this will turn into a Cowboy break. That ball could have gone anywhere after the hop, and instead of out of bounds, it's in and out of the end zone. So Matt Flynn grew up in Tyler, Texas. He and his family, Cowboy fans, and he idolized the guy I get to stand next to every Sunday on our little trek through the NFL.
He's not a Cowboy fan any longer.
No.
But he does have family here at the game. As you said, Joe, from Tyler, Texas, home of the great Earl Campbell as well. And you know, he's had a tough few weeks, but last week, after having the opportunity to take 10 days to prepare following that Thanksgiving loss, came out against Atlanta and really had a nice performance.
Starting at the 20, he starts it with the rookie, and Eddie Lacy, who's playing with a sprained right ankle, picks up 3. We look at the offense, an offense that for a while there late in the week looked like it might be directed by Aaron Rodgers. But it's Matt Flynn who will do a lot of handing off to those first 2 guys and try and find the next 2 guys downfield. 2nd and 7. Aaron Rodgers, the collarbone not ready. 6 weeks since that injury. On 2nd down, Flynn. A lot of this. That's Jones. And James Jones is across the 40. Heath slows him down, and Jones is down inside the 40-yard line. And that's how it's been, Troy, with Matt Flynn. A lot of throws underneath and then looking for a good run after the catch.
As soon as the safety goes to the middle, the rotation's that way. You work opposite of that as the quarterback, knowing you got a void in that defense. They hit James Jones on a slant route. The Packers run the slants as much as any team in football. which is fine. They're going to complete a high percentage of those passes, but then as a defense, you got to be able to make the tackle, and James Jones just does not go down and turns it into a big game.
Then he limped off. Jared Boykin into the lineup. 39 yards to James Jones. Flynn for Coon, and a nice play is made. That's Wilbur. A loss of 1, and here's James Jones after the catch and run. 39 yards.
Kind of pulled up, Joe, right before he even went to the ground. You know, right before he got tackled, he had an awkward movement there that, you know, he has missed some time this year because of injury. But that was a nice play on the slant route.
2nd and 11. Lacey ran into Corliss, his own man, and picks up 4. Ernie Sims on the stop. There are injuries all over this defense. That's been the case for Monty Kiffin's group all year. But now they've got Durant, Sims, and Wilbur starting at linebacker. You see the 2 guys on the outside of that. DeMarcus Ware-Troy has been challenged for this game.
He's been challenged by the head coach. Heck, he's been challenged by the owner. You know, and they don't have Sean Lee playing today. I expect DeMarcus Ware to have an impact on this game after the week that he went through.
James Jones back in there. On 3rd down and 7. Heavy rush. Scandrick got there. And a sack on 3rd and 7.
Well, the Cowboys didn't disguise what they were doing. They had everybody up. You knew Orlando Scandrick was coming off the slot. He's coming off here, and the ball's just got to come out. And Matt Flynn had a receiver to get the ball to. The slot receiver was open, but Matt Flynn, if there is something that he could get better on, it's getting the ball out of his hands a little bit quicker than he's been able to here over the last few weeks, and that was a good example of it.
That's this season. This will be a 57-yard try by Crosby. His career long is 58. Mason Crosby. He got it, and got it easily. What a season he is having. Mike McCarthy, after a down year last year, stuck with him. And Mason Crosby has rewarded that patience. 3-3 game in Texas.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Aerial coverage provided by Nationwide Insurance. Crosby will kick it away. A guy who last year had an NFL low 64% in field goal attempts made, and he was challenged in camp, and he has rewarded his head coach with a big year. 3-3 game, 2nd possession for the Cowboys. Dallas has it. We come back.
Today's game is sponsored by the all-new 2014 Jeep Cherokee, built free.
Cletus actually on location today here in Arlington, Texas.
Never looked better.
How about the Bears? We look at the NFC North. They may be in first place all alone at the end of tomorrow night, depending on what happens with Detroit at home against the Ravens, who are fighting now with Miami for a wild card spot in the AFC. Cutler got the start. 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Forte, another big day. And that tandem on the outside. The Cowboys found out how good and tough they are. That's Beasley. And the little receiver, Cole Beasley, picks up 8.
You talk about the Bears winning today, and of course they, as you said, they went with Jay Cutler, and Josh McCown, I thought, done a heck of a job when he was filling in last week's game against the Cowboys. He was sensational throwing the football in really adverse conditions, as you see the standings as they sit here right now before this game and then the game tomorrow night. But Josh McCown was awfully good. Shows you what a backup quarterback can do for you, and of course the Packers know all about that.
2nd down and 2, and a big one from Murray. DeMarco Murray. What a stretch he's had. 41 yards with a fullback in front of him.
You see the hole that opens up. Tyler Klutz, the fullback, he picks up the linebacker there, Brad Jones, and A.J. Hawk takes the other gap. There's just nobody filling the hole. And Tyron Smith, as I said, he's having an outstanding year. He has Clay Matthews there in run blocking, but DeMarco Murray has been sensational since they started emphasizing the running game.
Ties his season-long 41 yards. Romo protected. Des Bryant inside the 10. Two possessions filled with big plays. That for 22 yards.
Yeah, and this is going to be a matchup that you focus on throughout this game. Clay Matthews has got to be able to get pressure on Tony Romo. A lot of man coverage on the back end, and so you run the deep crossing routes. We saw Terrence Williams on the first possession, this time Des Bryant, and a guy with speed running away. It's just very difficult then for the defensive back to keep up with him. They've had two big plays off that same route.
Inside the red zone, the Cowboys are the second best team in the NFL. Here's Murray. Hits Shields and spins his way to the 4.
You know, DeMarco Murray, you know, hasn't, I guess, overall really had all that many opportunities, Joe. I mean, here recently they started feeding him the ball a little bit more, but, you know, through the first 3 weeks of the season, he had 20 carries in 2 of those games and hasn't had 20 carries in a game since. Now, he would have on Monday night, if they hadn't have fallen so far behind. But, you know, if they keep giving him the ball, he's a guy who continually gets better as the game goes along.
Second down and goal. Romo, far side, incomplete for the rookie Escobar. The Dallas Cowboys came into the season thinking they were going to go a lot of the 2 tight end heavy sets using Escobar, who they spent a second-round pick out of San Diego State to bring him into the fold. That really hasn't worked out, and so they've changed up and gone with a fullback. Second week with Tyler Klutz, and after a big week last week, Murray's already ripped off a couple of good runs here today. Third and goal. Romo. Pass is broken up. Burnett made the play. Witten was the intended target. And so the Green Bay defense keeps the Cowboys out of the end zone.
Well, those are the opportunities, though, that the Packers just have not been able to make. You know, when they've got an opportunity, there was a time where, you know, you make a throw like that against this defense, they were going to make you pay for it. And Morgan Burnett has an opportunity to undercut that throw and intercept it. And Tony Romo was fortunate that ball was not intercepted.
23-yard try for Bailey, who's already hit from 47. Cowboys back on top by 3. Come into this game with these two defenses expecting to see a lot of points. It's a 6-3 Cowboy lead. We saw Tony Romo giving Jason Garrett, the head coach, an earful on his way off the field. Then Witten was. Remember, it's still theoretically Bill Callahan calling the plays up in the booth through Garrett. And then into Tony Romo. So a frustrating end to that drive. First it was Romo, then Witten for the Cowboys, who lead by 3. Second possession for the Green Bay Packers, who had a big play to James Jones to get them into a position. Ended up with a long field goal, 57 yards. From Crosby the first time they had it. Again down by 3. Toss to Lacey, running right, and the play is blown up. And it's made by George Selvey. A loss of 5. And before second down, we go to Joel Klatt with a game break.
All right, Joe, New Orleans trying to keep pace with Seattle for that top seed in the NFC, but not looking good early. Kellen Clemens to Corey Harkey. 31 yards, 7-0 Rams. And then he does his best, Michael Waka. Hey, Joe, 59 days until pitchers and catchers.
Thanks, Joel. We got something in between then
False
and
start,
now.
number 69, offense, 5-yard penalty. He'll sing it out.
It's Walt Coleman. They get Bakhtiari. And by the way, Harkey is the son of Mike Harkey, former Chicago Cub pitcher. I'm sure that was a tribute to his dad after getting the touchdown against the Saints. Under 5 to go in this opening quarter. Selvey made the play, and then a 5-yard loss on the false start. 2nd and 20. Flynn setting up a screen. Snipped out. Good play, Durant. Ball was down. It stays with the Packers, but a loss of 6.
You get backed up like that, Joe, 2nd and long. You got to anticipate that the offense is going to try to run something conservative like the screen. Justin Durant, he sees it the entire way. Evan Dietrich Smith had no opportunity to get on him and get a block and help Lacey out on that play.
Ball popped out when the arm with the ball in it of Lacey hit the ground. And now 3rd down and 26 from the 4-yard line. Fast caught. Jordy Nelson, he's got a long way to go, and he just buys a little room for the punter Mastay. Selvey made the stop downfield, a gain of 12. Remember, as we said, no Sean Lee, who at this point, when healthy, is the Cowboys' best defensive player and the guy who's the man in the middle for this Cowboys defense. They missed him last week, out with a bad neck. And who knows if they'll get him back before the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm not sure he'll come back and play this year. I know he initially thought he would be playing here today and highly disappointed. He knows how much this defense really relies on him.
Mastay hits it, a good one. Beasley with a fair catch, and he hauls it in at the 35. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Hey, Joe, you know about all those hamstring injuries to the Dallas Cowboys. Jason Garrett told me we can't bury our heads in the sand here. It's a real problem, and we're going to have to do something about it. The fact that 10 different Dallas Cowboys have landed on the injury report this season with hamstring problems, that has Coach Garrett wondering what the heck is going on. Garrett told me it's a real problem. We'll figure it out. The Dallas Cowboys do an injury survey at the end of the season, and hamstrings will be looked at very closely. Back to you.
You know, Joe, I think it's a survey that the Packers will be looking at as well, because, you know, remember earlier in the year they've had a number of hamstring injuries. I think it's one of those things that's pretty prevalent all around the league.
You see Dwayne Harris, who's such a big weapon, returning kicks and punts. He's out with a hamstring, re-injured it in Chicago on that cold night. Here's Escobar with a catch and a roll near midfield. Gavin Escobar good for 15.
You know, you talked about Escobar a little bit earlier, Joe, and you know, him being a rookie and where he was drafted in the 2nd round, and a lot was expected of him coming into this season. And I think because it hasn't gone the way that they had anticipated his development, you know, it's left them kind of wondering what exactly they are, because they had anticipated being a 2 tight end offense, a 1-back set, and that just has not come to fruition.
Pretty close on the catch. Good job by DeMarco Murray picking up Brad Jones, and now Murray out of the backfield makes the catch, and he's down to the 41. 9 yards. It's been one big play after another for this Dallas attack, as we're at a minute and a half left in the first quarter.
Well, the Cowboys have been able to move the football, and they've been able to pile some yards, but you know, the Packers defensively, at least, when the Cowboys have started to move the ball down in there into scoring territory, they've been able to tighten up and just force 2 field goals.
About 10 yards of play to start against this Green Bay defense. 2nd and 1. Murray picks it up and more. Inside the 30 and out of bounds at the 25. Brad Jones couldn't bring him down, and a 16-yard carry for DeMarco Murray.
You see these big guys in the middle for the Packers. You know, they hold their own for the most part. They don't get pushed backwards very often. These are big guys, but they just don't get off blocks. And then the linebacker, you see Brad Jones, he's there to try to make a play, and he fails to make a tackle. But that's been the reoccurring theme of this defense as far as their run defense goes, is they just have a hard time getting off blocks, and then tackling's been a problem as well.
That would be a bad combination.
It's a bad combo.
Play clock at 1 as Romo gets it away. Pass is caught. Witten for the touchdown.
That's probably what Jason Witten was saying to Jason Garrett on the sidelines after that last possession is, hey, they're playing single safety, and I can put a move on this guy and get up in the seam. There's nobody there, and he ran a great route and gave Tony Romo a heck of a lane to put the ball.
Touchdown pass number 28 for Tony Romo. Career touchdown catch number 52 for Witten, and his 8th of the year. It's a 25-yarder. Play developed. Romo made a good throw, and the Cowboys already with 4 plays of 20 or more yards in this first quarter.
Well, Jason Witten, he likes this out route. You see it a lot, and he starts like he's going to go to the out, and then he comes underneath up the seam. That's just an excellent job on his part of setting up the defender and giving his quarterback a great place to put the football.
Jason Garrett, in his 3rd full year as head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, he's had 2 8-8 finishes. Cowboys, and in particular Tony Romo, are tired of hearing about their December record. Tony Romo comes in with an 11-16 record during the month of December after just owning the month of November in his career, which really kicked off in 2006. But this season's been different. I mean, they've limited the mistakes. He might not be as dynamic at times because he's pulled things a little tighter in, but he's more willing, Troy, to take a sack. He's not forcing throws, and that's why the Cowboys are tied for the fewest giveaways this season in the NFL. Packers down by 10 will start at the 20. No matter what happened today with the Philadelphia Eagles, it was all out there for the Dallas Cowboys. They knew coming into today, if they win out, they win the division for the first time since '09.
Yeah, it's out there for them, and it's out there for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, even after their loss. So the division here is going to be pretty exciting as we go through the next couple of weeks. I think this game right now, Joe, for the Packers, what do you do if you're Dom Capers? You're playing an extra defender in the box and you're not stopping the run, and then you give these receivers one-on-one on the, in coverage, and they haven't been able to cover anybody yet either.
Flynn out of the shotgun, down the sideline for Jones, and they're going to throw a flag. Pass interference on Brandon Carr. Got his hand in there, made contact, did not get his head around, and that was an easy call.
Well, they came into this ball game saying, hey, we're going to try to challenge these receivers.
Pass interference, number 27. Defense. Ball being placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
They called 27. It was clearly 39.
Yeah, that was Brandon Carr. You saw the grab, and when they brought him in from Kansas City, he's best when he's in press coverage, and they've kind of gotten away from that. So coming into this game, Brandon Carr was excited about getting back to the scheme and the style of play that he's best at running.
Flynn in trouble and sacked. Brought down by Selby, who's made a couple of plays already for this Cowboy defense, a loss of 10.
Yeah, we saw him make the play on Eddie Lacy in the running game, and then he splits you can see the right tackle and Corliss. They're trying to make the block on him, and neither one of them can slow him down.
Defense has made some plays for Dallas. They've been waiting for that. Selby, a couple of them. 10-point game. Back after this from your local Fox station. Just under 200 yards in the first quarter for the Dallas offense. Only 32 for Green Bay. Some negative plays have hurt. And now it's second down and 20 for Matt Flynn. This three-man rush. Lacey out of the backfield. Sterling Moore, who's getting more and more playing time, in on the stop with Devontae Holloman, who's back after missing 7 games with a bad neck. A pickup of just 5, and now 3rd and long coming up.
Well, Joe, I think you said it, that there's just been too many negative plays already here through the first quarter of this ball game for Green Bay, and so they once again find themselves in a 3rd down and long.
Third down and 15. Pass is off the hands of Jordy Nelson.
They come
4th down.
They come back, Joe, with the same play that they ran on the last 3rd and long. They're going to block everybody up on that side. They're going to try to throw a short pass to Jordy Nelson and get as much yardage as they can. I can't imagine that Mike McCarthy calls this thinking that they're going to be able to pick up the 1st down, but just not a good possession, even on the sack. You know, George Selvey makes a nice play for the Cowboys, but Matt Flynn has to be able to avoid that and at least get the ball out of his hands.
Mastay puts the nose of the ball down, hits it, and it will end up in the end zone. They'll be playing the game right here at AT&T Stadium on Friday, January 3rd. One of the best bowl games of the year is on Fox. 13th ranked Oklahoma State taking on James Franklin and the 8th ranked Missouri Tigers. AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic Friday, January 3rd at 7:30 Eastern, only on Fox.
That's a great bowl game too. I played in it when I was coming out of UCLA, and they do a great job, that bowl committee here in Dallas. And 2 teams that, Joe, as you know, with Missouri, both those clubs really thought that, you know, they were going to finish a lot higher than what they are. That's going to be a great matchup.
Yeah, 2 teams that really finished strong. Missouri had that rough SEC championship game, but still, what a year under head coach Gary Pinkel after a dismal start last year in a new conference. Pass caught by Bryant, and Des Bryant is out across the 25 to the 26.
Yeah, and Des Bryant, you look at him coming into this game, and you really expect him to have a big game today, because last week on Monday night he only had 2 catches in that game against the Bears, and the pattern with him has been whenever he's gone a game where he hasn't had many opportunities or he's been limited in his receptions, he usually has a huge game the following week. I would expect him to have a good game here this afternoon. He's already been involved a few times.
He's gone 6 straight without a 100-yard day. On 2nd and 4, a little pump fake. Receiver falls down and a flag. Des Bryant, Tramon Williams in coverage, and a flag is thrown.
The Cowboys ran a double move, and Tramon Williams is there with their contact.
Number 38, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
There's just a lot of opportunities in this game for the Cowboys. You know, you mentioned Tony Romo, and they're not taking as many shots down the field as what we've seen from them in previous years, but this is a game that they can, if they elect to, because of the style of play and because the Cowboys have been running the ball effectively again here this afternoon. They're going to see a lot of one-on-one matchups.
5 down. 5 down. Back inside. 180.
Play action. Romo protected, and the pass is tipped. A.J. Hawk got in to get his hand on it before it reached Des Bryant.
A.J. Hawk makes a nice play on that ball, and A.J. Hawk, I think he's one of the more underappreciated guys around the league, and I think a lot of expectations when he came into the league from Ohio State because of where he was drafted, but you know, he's probably been their most consistent player defensively. He shows up every week. He used to be a 1st and 2nd down guy, and now he even stays in nickel situations.
5th overall pick back in 06.
180.
On 2nd and 10, Romo finds Bryant, who stays up, got away from Tramon Williams and gets a 1st down. And that just shows the strength of Des Bryant.
Yeah, Tramon Williams, he's matched up on him in man coverage, and you know, Tramon Williams, who's actually a pretty good tackler for the most part, and you know, he tries to take him high, But yeah, Des Bryant, and the fun starts really once the ball's in his hands. He's hard to bring to the ground.
Already 8 plays of 10 or more yards for the Cowboys. Early minutes, second quarter. Here's Austin. They get him involved. The flag is thrown, and this could be on Austin. And it is. They're going to call offensive pass interference on Miles Austin as he shoved Shields.
Where the ball was located, I don't know they really needed to do anything. Shields never really saw it. I was a little surprised Miles Austin was even able to locate that ball in the sun. This stadium runs east and west, and you get that western sun this time of the day, and it was right in Miles Austin's face.
Just that little shove right in front of Mike McCarthy. You see the sun peeking through on what is a good weather day. They've been hit with some bad weather even here in the Dallas area. Better day today. Roof is closed. 1st and 20. Setting up a screen from Murray. Bernardo out in front of him, and DeMarco Murray crosses the 40. They go down to Pam Oliver.
The Packers do not like this news as they lose one of their big bodies up front. Defensive end Johnny Jolly has a shoulder injury. He's listed as questionable, but shows no signs of coming back in. Justin Durant, he's getting evaluated back in the locker room for a right hamstring injury. He's been dealing with that for a while, Joe.
Yeah, so another hamstring for the Cowboys, and for Green Bay not having Jolly, who's coming off arguably his best game at home against Atlanta. Big loss. Romo just has all day. Throws, and the pass is incomplete for DeMarco Murray. Brad Jones was out there in coverage. It's 3rd and 10.
The secondary for the Packers, as we've seen, I mean, they've had a hard time keeping up these Cowboys wide receivers. But when you give Tony Romo that kind of time in the pocket, you're expecting a big play down the field. The Packers were fortunate with no more pressure than they got on that one, not to give up a big one.
You see Sean Richardson in at safety. 3rd game back, missed about a full calendar year with neck fusion surgery. He got into the lineup last week in the second half. Romo out of the shotgun on 3rd down. Great pocket downfield. Des Bryant pass broken up. Good coverage by Morgan Burnett.
It's a great job by Morgan Burnett on the back end of this play, Joe. And you see Tony Romo and the kind of time that he has had in the pocket here today. And this time they try to take the shot down the field. But Morgan Burnett, he retreats and he's able to turn and at least try to locate the ball and make a play. These safeties around the league, they've got a tough job. They've got to be linebackers in the run game. They've got to be corners in the passing game. You know, there was a time where this league didn't ask so much from those safeties, but they sure do now.
Jones gets it away barely. Micah Hyde will let it go over his head and into the end zone. A flag is down back at the 50, and we'll give you another look at the end of that play with Burnett defending Des Bryant.
That's just a great job by him. You know, so many times in that situation the defensive back won't get turned, and so you're just playing the receiver, and you'll see a lot of times a penalty on the play.
The result of the play was a touchback.
So it's a touchback. The Packers, who find themselves down by 10 with Matt Flynn at quarterback. Back to work here in Arlington.
Today's game is sponsored by Citizen Echo Drive. Fueled by light, it never needs a battery.
There is no place in the world like AT&T Stadium.
Kind of interesting, Joe, on that last possession by the Cowboys. They didn't run the ball one time. 7 straight passes, and it's an offense that clearly had been running the ball pretty well.
Packers trying to get some traction on offense, down by 10. Quick set up and throw, and now Nelson drops it. Nelson, who does not have a touchdown since Aaron Rodgers went out. Aaron Rodgers was close and was obviously disappointed after a good practice day on Thursday to get word from the medical staff that the collarbone had not healed enough for him to make the start here today. And as he told us, Sometimes the doctor and the medical staff is there to protect the player against himself. Because if it was up to Aaron Rodgers, he'd be out there right now. Here's Lacy. He runs so hard, and Eddie Lacy is out to the 30 with a first down for Green Bay.
I mean, what a rookie year Eddie Lacy has had, and even when you look at his numbers at the end of the game, sometimes they're not all that impressive if you're just looking at total yards or yard per carry average, but he is a punishing runner, and he is so physical in his style, and he's been a real workhorse ever since he had that concussion and came back. He's been really good.
He had that week 2 concussion against Washington. Missed the Cincinnati game. Then the Packers had their bye week. And Eddie Lacy, since week 5, has the 3rd highest rushing total across the entire NFL.
You know, right now, Joe, the Packers, they're going kind of a muddle huddle. The offensive lines, they're getting the call, but the receivers are staying out wide. They went with a no huddle last week to start that game against Atlanta. Did not start it here today. But they're trying to find some kind of rhythm. Mike McCarthy doing all that he can to get Matt Flynn going.
2nd and 9. Pass broken up. Carr on the coverage. Jones the intended target. Aaron Rodgers told us the no huddle works so well for Matt Flynn and for Rodgers because it's less complicated. There's less shifting. You can just be more aggressive and get into a rhythm. You can see Ware got there about a step too late.
Well, and they're also bringing linebacker pressure. We've seen secondary players. Jerry Jones said he wanted to see more risk defensively, bring blitzes, and the Cowboys have done that.
Owner, general manager, defensive coordinator. 3rd down and 9. Pass is caught, but short of the first down by plenty by Corliss.
Yeah, I'll clean that up a little bit. This past week after the Bears game, you know, Jerry Jones, the owner, didn't feel that Monty Kiffin, you know, really changed it up enough and brought enough looks. And, you know, they can't just sit back and play base defense and be that effective. And you knew coming in you were going to get a lot of different looks. You know, when the owner suggests, hey, we need to do more. And the Cowboys have done that, and the Packers just haven't had an answer for it.
It's funny, though, to hear Jerry Jones say he wants to see his defense take more risks. It seemed like that was the very reason why they got rid of Rob Ryan. Here's Beasley on the return from the 20 out across the 25.
Well, Jerry Jones knows a thing or two about risk.
I'd put my money with him. And there he was before the game down on the field. His team up 10, 2nd quarter. I saw you in there, Aikman. The old montage, Cowboys and the Packers.
You all right?
All right.
Okay.
Okay. 2 great franchises. You look at the championships. And not only history back in the 60s, but history, postseason history in the 90s. And Romo pulls it back and finds Miles Austin. And the Dallas Cowboys, as we said the last go around, desperately trying to get number 19 back in a rhythm.
Well, Miles Austin runs a really nice route, and he uncovers himself for his quarterback, and that's because these two guys have been playing together for so long. Even though you're going to see Miles Austin on this deep crossing route, he's trying to sit down in the hole. He sees that Tony Romo's in trouble. A.J. Hawk's working back towards him, and he gives Romo a place to go with the football. It's just a great ad-lib by Miles Austin.
Inactive 5 games with a bad hamstring. He hurt against the Rams in week 3. Here's a catch by Terrence Williams, his 2nd of the day, picks up 6. Richardson on the stop.
Yeah, Terrence Williams getting a few more opportunities here in this game. Remember, they had to rely on him heavily when Miles Austin was missing those games, but then when Austin came back, they started running the ball more. Terrence Williams hasn't been as big a part of the offense, but right now the Cowboys putting pressure on the Packers. Packers desperately need their offense to do something.
9 straight pass plays called by the Cowboys. Now run with Murray right side. And DeMarco Murray fights for the first down. He pushed away A.J. Hawk and picks up 6.
It's a stretch zone play by the Dallas Cowboys, and DeMarco Murray is excellent at running it. He's either going to keep it play side, or if he sees a hole, then he knifes it and gets going north and south. He's a very physical runner. He has great speed. His biggest problem throughout his career is just staying on the field. But when he's healthy and running, he's as good as anyone.
He's missed 11 of 44 possible games coming in. But he's on a roll. And already over 80 yards on the day. On first down. Romo with inside the 30 with another Cowboy first down. 13-yard completion to Jason Witten.
Well, Dom Capers maybe needs to have a conversation with Jerry Jones about bringing some pressure, because you see how much time he has had in the pocket and on that play. And right now the Cowboys can do whatever they want. They can run the football, they can throw it. And as I said, if the next time the Packers get the ball, if they don't start doing something, the Cowboys are going to run them right out of the stadium.
Dom Capers, who, as we've said before, has had a defense that's been willing to give up yards, but predicated on getting takeaways. The takeaways haven't come. Just got it away. Murray cuts upfield to the 25. B.J. Raji on the tackle, a gain of 3. Well, the Dallas Cowboys in years past, you know, Romo gets the heat. He's kind of become the cover boy on the cover of SI and then on the cover of ESPN, the magazine. When anybody ever asked me, and that was about 2 people over the course of the last 3 years, I always said the offensive line wasn't good enough. This offensive line is a real strength for the Dallas Cowboys and is allowing Dallas to do what they want on the ground and through the air. Thanks for laughing, and thanks for never asking, Troy. 10-point game. Timeout in Texas.
Today's game is sponsored by the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 and Galaxy Gear.
He can't compete on the football field anymore, but he can compete in spin class.
Where were you? We were all over there at Flywheel, and you never showed up. We had a bike reserved for you.
Trust me. I know my limits. Not easy.
You can't pedal?
2nd and 7. Romo. End zone and out of the reach of Bryant. Now 3rd and 7.
It's a good idea by the Cowboys. They run 2 vertical routes, and it gives Des Bryant then an opportunity. And Tony Romo just leads him a little bit too much. But that inside route by Jason Witten, as you see, that held the safety just enough, Sean Richardson, to be able to give him a place to put that ball.
Dallas used a timeout. First timeout of this half taken by either side. That was prior to 2nd and 7. Now 3rd and 7. Romo out to his right. Pass is for Witten, out of his reach. Romo directing traffic as he made his way toward the sideline. It's 4th down.
It's good pressure by Mike Daniels, at least forcing Romo out of the pocket and getting off the field. That's one thing this Packer defense, when they've been able to force the Cowboys to 3rd down, they've been able to get it off the field. Neither offense so far has converted on 3rd down today.
43-yard try coming from Dan Bailey. He's hit from 47, hit from 23. And now 43, he's becoming automatic. And the Cowboys have scored on 4 of their 5 possessions and lead by 13 here at home. Kevin Green going through it. Over on the sideline, it's a 13-point game, 16-3, and the Packers about to get it back and try and figure out something offensively. Had one big play. That was to James Jones early, and that's it. Micah Hyde takes a knee. Remember this guy? Not that guy. This guy. Brett Favre is the offensive coordinator of Oak Grove High School in Mississippi. And he led his team to the Class 6A football state championship on December 6th, the first state championship the school has ever won. And Brett was quoted afterwards saying, I can't say it's the Super Bowl, but it's pretty close.
You know, he's the offensive coordinator. They only scored 14 points, but I'm told he has the #1 offense in the state, and they played the #1 defense in that game. So congratulations to him. I'll tell you, of all the guys I've played with and against, Brett was the last guy that I thought would go into coaching. Good for him.
From the 20, handoff to Lacey, and Lacey gets 2. Let's go for a game break. Here's Joel Klatt.
Joe, let's go down to Carolina, and D'Angelo Williams getting loose. A little screen pass from Cam Newton. And he's going to take it 72 yards for the touchdown, his longest of his career. Newton's 21st of the season. Matches a career high. 16-6 Panthers. Joe.
They got Williams back last week. We'll see D'Angelo Williams and Cam Newton next week at home against New Orleans. Here is Boykin with a nice catch in traffic for a first down.
It really was a good catch, Joe, because that ball was challenged. I mean, he had to be strong at the point of the catch in order to make this play, and that's really one of his strengths. I mean, you're going to have guys sit on the routes, as what happens there, but he comes back to the ball and makes a nice play.
You see, he was covered by Sterling Moore. B.W. Webb has been put on the bench in his favor as Lacey got to the edge, and he's brought down by J.J. Wilcox. A flag is down.
Holding, number 71, offense, 10-yard penalty, then first down.
That's the best offensive lineman for the Packers, Josh Sitton.
Yeah, he's really had a good year, but an untimely penalty there. Right after they get the first down, they're starting to do something. I mean, this offense has struggled, and when they've had negative plays and they've had penalties, it's been hard for them to overcome them. Josh Sitton is the left guard, and he was the one who was called. Turned him a little bit, but Joe, the Packers right now are making this defense look like the '85 Bears, and they have not been able to really slow anybody all season long.
On 1st and 20 now, Flynn protected, pass picked, and that's the newcomer Moore. Sterling Moore out of bounds with his first interception. Added in season out of SMU, and a 22-yard return with a takeaway.
Just not quite sure what Matt Flynn sees. You're going to have safety in the middle of the field, and you know that's where Jordy Nelson was working, so you got to deal with the safety there, and then the corner falls off of it, Sterling Moore, and just not much of an opportunity to complete that pass.
As we just said, Moore has slipped in front of B.W. Webb, who was a 4th-round pick out of William and Mary. And he's been a nice addition. The Cowboys are playing without Morris Claiborne, who's missed 5 of the last 6 now with a bad hamstring. His father just passed away as well, and so an opportunity for Moore, who played at nearby SMU. On first down, Bryant spinning, can't make the catch, covered by Shields.
I think Mike McCarthy's got to be shocked right now. You know, I mean, after the nice win last week against Atlanta and got things going for Matt Flynn in this offense, and I really thought it would carry over. I know in visiting with him, I said, hey, you got to feel pretty good coming off of that game, playing the Cowboys, the worst defense in football, the worst pass defense in football. And he said, well, we feel good. I mean, I don't expect this to be a 9-7 ball game. It's not that, but the Packers just have not had much success moving the ball.
They've been on the Green Bay side of midfield all day. Here's Romo, brought down, and a big play by Daniels. That's what Green Bay needed. Mike Daniels has 6.5 sacks on the year.
No, it's just what the Packers needed, and you know, defensively, they're hanging in there as best they can. They really, overall, considering how much they've been on the field and how little help they've gotten from their offense, they've held up pretty well in minimizing the damage.
Now 3rd down and 22. On a drive that started at the 20 after the interception by Moore.
24, Boston.
Romo floats it. Witten, pass broken up. Jared Bush made the play. He made a big one against Tony Gonzalez last week at home facing the Falcons. Crowd wanted a flag, and they don't get it on Bush.
Yeah, he had Tony Gonzalez last week, and I think that's a pretty good non-call, to be honest with you, Joe. I mean, there's some grabbing going on. There's hand checking. Witten's pushing on him. He's pushing on him a little bit, but Jared Bush probably could have turned and tried to make a better play on that ball, but all in all, they let him go.
And so now a 50-yard try by Bailey, looking for his 4th of the day. And he got it. Plenty of leg. He is 4 for 4. And the lead grows for the Dallas Cowboys in a game they need. Up 16. Well, I know the Dallas Cowboys, Troy, will look at this as it's good. It could be a lot better as drives have stalled. A big sack by Daniels to make it a 16-point game. It's still well within reach for Green Bay, but they've got to figure out something offensively against this last-ranked defense of the Cowboys here before the half.
Yeah, they got to figure out a lot, and I don't know where Mike McCarthy's going to start at halftime. They offensively have just 64 yards of offense. Pretty remarkable.
Cowboys came in last ranked, allowing just under 430 yards per game. And the drive for Matt Flynn and the Packers will start at the 20. I thought it was interesting to read Mike McCarthy saying, you know, he wants Scott Tolzien back next year. He thinks he can develop him into a good NFL quarterback, and he does think a lot about, did I give up on Tolzien too early? He's got a big arm. He did throw some picks, but he showed some glimpses of being somebody that the Packers might want to keep around, and McCarthy admitted as much.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think he went away from him too early. I mean, they needed to do something, and Matt Flynn, you know, he was a veteran guy, so I don't necessarily disagree with that. But Tolzien has a lot of upside, there's no doubt.
From the 20, a toss to Lacy running right, cuts back, and Eddie Lacy's got a first down as the drive begins. An 11-yard carry for Lacy, who is challenging the Packers rookie rushing records. He already has the record for rushing touchdowns, and he is chasing down John Brockington with what he has done cumulatively on the ground. Good job. Thanks. I got it out. Had to concentrate. From across the 30, flag flies. Lacy cannot make the 35. But a flag at the snap.
Offside, number 92, defense lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That's Jarius Wynn. See what the offense has done for Green Bay their last 4 possessions.
Yeah, and this Packers team, when they are rolling on offense, even when they've struggled defensively over the years, I mean, the offense keeping the ball and scoring points has been what's helped the team out, and they're asking a lot of that defense if they can't do more on this side of the ball.
On 1st and 5, it's Lacy. And Lacy is going to fight to just shy of the 40, and the two teams start to rough it up. Again, a 4 by Lacy. 2nd and a yard coming up for the Packers, who have all 3 of their timeouts remaining.
Yeah, I think Mike McCarthy's just trying to, you know, get into some kind of rhythm that he's been trying to find throughout this first half on this possession. And so the clock's running, the half timeouts, plenty of time, but put together a drive and try to get some points on this drive.
On 2nd and 1, pass is off the hands of Ryan Taylor, who was wide open.
Yeah, Matt Flynn knows that he missed it, and when you get to that point as a quarterback, when you're, you know, struggling and you're not seeing the field particularly well, you start aiming every throw, and then you hesitate on every throw as well, and it's hard to play the position when you're not cutting it loose, and right now Matt Flynn's not doing that.
And right now the priority for Green Bay is to get the first down. On 3rd down and 1, Flynn drops it off for Lacy, cannot make the catch. Lost his footing. It's now 4th down, and the punt team comes on for the Packers.
Yeah, it was a ball that Eddie Lacy could have caught, but it's also a throw that Matt Flynn could have made a lot easier if you get it out there, and so he doesn't have to turn, and you allow him to just run naturally. You pick that first down up very easily. So 2 throws there, 2 wide open guys, and here they are punting.
So for the Dallas Cowboys defensively, a team that really struggled on 3rd down at Chicago last week. Packers 0 for 5 on 3rd down. A fair catch. They're going to throw a flag as there was interference to make the fair catch by Devon House. Beasley's got to be given a clean opportunity and was not. As you'll see Devon House come in. Webb got on the ball, it looked like, anyway.
Fair catch interference, number 31 of the kicking team. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
It was a 50-yard punt, then the penalty, and 15 yards later, the Cowboys will have it up 16. Look at the offensive leaders for the Cowboys. Marco Murray with a big first half. Cowboys can, at this point, attack this final 2 minutes any way they want. They've got 2 timeouts left. Starting at the 25, they hand it off. It's Murray. He's out across the 30. A gain of 6. Micah Hyde on the tackle.
It's pretty amazing, though, Joe. I mean, you look at this first half and the discrepancy in yards and time of possession and everything else, and the fact that the Cowboys only, I say only, lead by 16 points. The Packers are really fortunate.
On 2nd and 4, Romo. Look right, comes back left. Des Bryant behind the defense. What a catch. He had to adjust, and Des Bryant is out of bounds inside the 35 at the 32. 37 yards.
And this is about Romo's 3rd guy on the read. He runs a slant and go. Romo's working the other side, comes back to him. Sam Shields bites and leaves Bryant wide open.
And the numbers just keep piling up. A 300-yard first half for the Cowboys offensively. Bryant is close to his first 100-yard game in a month and a half. Nothing there. Murray was along the sideline, and A.J. Hawk was in coverage. 2nd and 10.
Well, other than Mike Daniels, who got pressure on Romo, I can't think of any other time where he's really been forced to get the ball out of his hands quicker than he wanted to.
Daniels with the only sack. Romo's only been knocked down once. Hit 4 times. 2nd and 10. Clay Matthews from the other side of the formation coming on the rush. The pass caught by Austin. So they move Clay Matthews to the other side, trying to get pressure on Romo. Romo's protected, and Miles Austin has a 15-yard catch.
Matthews swaps over to the other side, tries to work Doug free. That doesn't work. And then Miles Austin, remember earlier, he ran the inside route. Micah Hyde was with him. Miles Austin puts a move on Hyde as though he's going to take the middle, gets him to overreact to that side, and then leaves himself wide open to the flat. That's a well-run route by Miles Austin.
Who can join the list of playmakers for Dallas. The 2 regular seasons to go, games to go after today. On first down, Romo. Des Bryant all alone. Runs through a tackle, and he's down at the 1. He just plowed right through Morgan Burnett.
He just drops his shoulders and stiff arms him, and he's mad at himself for not getting this ball into the end zone. Well, he was wide open, though, as he crosses the middle. You see the confusion by Green Bay trying to figure out who has who. Nobody goes with Des Bryant. If you're going to pick one of them, that's the guy I'd pick.
Bryant over 100 yards on the day. 1st and goal. Here's Murray. Touchdown. 8th rushing touchdown of the season for DeMarco Murray.
A lot of talk going on there with the defense. They don't get it settled again. Mackenzie Bernardo, he comes off and makes a good block, and DeMarco Murray shows great patience before he hits it.
This is about as thorough a first half as the Cowboys have played this season, and they're doing it against the Green Bay Packers. A 26-3 game. 24 seconds left. It's a 23-point game. The Cowboys never did have to even use a timeout on that possession that started with just under 2 minutes to go in the half. And they've scored on 6 of the 7 possessions so far in the opening half. Whether it's been offensively or for the first time in a while defensively, the Cowboys have looked very good here this afternoon. 24 seconds left in the half. Here in Texas, a place where the Green Bay Packers have not won since 1989. Kurt Menefee is standing by, and he gives us a sneak peek as to what's coming up at halftime.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime, we'll talk about the Eagles losing big time, the Giants getting shut out at home for the first time since '95, and the Redskins giving away their game to the Falcons. The NFC East in December. I guess that means the door's open for Dallas, right? These guys will talk about that on the Visa Halftime.
Well, a big day by Kirk Cousins for the Washington Redskins, a team that went for 2 points instead of a tie at the end of their game in Atlanta, but an impressive day nonetheless. The understudy of RG3. Coming across early and drawing the flag was Jarius Wynn.
Neutral's on infraction. Number 92, defense, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, first down.
So now 1st and 5 for the Packers, who have all 3 timeouts, but not shown the ability to get anything going downfield. Only 24 seconds left in the half.
Yeah, I think normally you just say, hey, let's take a knee and go in, but Mike McCarthy has seen about enough of this mess. He wants to. What does he have to lose at this point?
Nelson underneath makes the catch, has a first down, and is out of bounds with 19 seconds remaining. For the Dallas Cowboys, they are trying to get a win here today. They'll tie record-wise Philadelphia at 8-6. They so far have the head-to-head tiebreaker. Dallas is at Washington next week, and then they finish in Week 17 here at home against the Eagles, who lost on the road today at the Vikings.
Yeah. Ready to go. Ready to go.
On first down, Flynn with a tight end, Brandon Bostic, and good coverage downfield by Sterling Moore, who has the interception already to his credit in this half.
Yeah, he has played well here in this first half. This is outstanding coverage that he has. I mean, he's in a great position. He's playing the ball, and Bostic, he at least goes up and makes a play on it, keeps that one from being intercepted. Also, he had the height advantage on Moore, but Moore in good coverage.
Been a nice find for the Cowboys. Sterling Moore, they need him. 2nd and 10. 3-man rush. Flynn underneath Boykin, and Boykin with 1 second left. They may even put 2 seconds on the clock. Timeout was taken by Green Bay. 2 seconds remain in the half. Only one show makes dreams come true and discovers superstars. American Idol returns this January with Jennifer Lopez, Keith Urban, and Harry Connick Jr. American Idol, the search for a superstar, begins this January on Fox.
Well, the Cowboys put Des Bryant in. They got the team that they use whenever an offense is going to throw the Hail Mary, try to get it down the field. See if the Cowboys are able to get to Matt Flynn. If he's got enough arm strength to get it down the field. That's going to be a heck of a throw.
3 seconds left in the half, so this is it for the first half of play, barring a defensive penalty, which is probably the only thing the Packers can hope for at this point. As you said, it would be some kind of throw. Instead, underneath, it's Lacy. And he's got a long way to go. Eddie Lacy, the rookie, pads the stats, but that's the end of the half. A catch and run for Lacy of 34 yards, but a dominant first half for the Dallas Cowboys. Trying to tie the Eagles on top of the NFC East. Let's go right to Kurt and the guys in LA. Piece of halftime.
Let's go, baby. Let's turn this place into our house. Man, must-win game, baby. Let's get it in. Come on, light on today, baby.
Witten for the touchdown. Here's Murray. Touchdown. America's Game of the Week continues. And it was not just a good first half for the Dallas Cowboys. It was a record-setting first half for the Cowboys. The most all-time yardage in a first half in their franchise history. I'm Joe. That's Troy. And, well, the Green Bay Packers have got to figure out something offensively, something they could not do the entire first half.
Well, everybody always talks about halftime adjustments, and what exactly do they mean? I've always felt that they're a bit overrated, but we'll find out what adjustments Mike McCarthy and his staff have made, because obviously they've dug themselves a heck of a hole. Now, we saw them come back last week in that win against Atlanta, but they've got to figure out something on the offensive side of the ball.
You can follow your favorite team all season long just by going to itunes.com/NFL. Well, we'll see what the Green Bay Packers try and do as they will start this second half with the ball. Micah Hyde waiting. Bailey has shown an accurate leg and a strong leg all day. And that continues on the back of the end zone down to the field, and Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, Mike McCarthy, when I spoke to him, he said we're going to revisit the way we started the game and have a heavy dose of Eddie Lacy defensively. He says we got to do a better job on those crossing routes and just get pressure on the quarterback. Meantime, Jason Garrett very proud of his defense, the way they've responded. He said that we need to just keep moving forward, though. Forget about the first half altogether. Back to you.
Thanks, Pam. Troy, do you want to throw the bouquet toward Monty Kiffin, or should I?
No, go at it.
Starting at the 20 are the Green Bay Packers, down by 23.
19.
Here's Lacy. Lacy, big run. Forget the bouquet. Eddie Lacy is inside the 40, inside the 25, and a good start to the second half for the Green Bay Packers on just a simple off-tackle run.
Well, you can see here, it looked like they were going to drop him down and be to that side, but he started to rotate then to the middle of the field, and good blocking up front opened up a huge lane then for Eddie Lacy. Talk about something this Packers offense desperately needed coming out at half. Eddie Lacy gives them a spark.
60-yard carry, and that is his longest of this rookie season. Starks now in the backfield. First time he's been on the field, and he gets it. Lowers his shoulder and takes it to the 15. A 5-yard carry by James Starks after the 60-yarder by Eddie Lacy.
Well, we heard Pam's report in talking with Mike McCarthy when he said we're going to revisit the way we wanted to start this game, running the ball with Eddie Lacy. They come out and do it, and you can see it, Joe. The linemen are coming off the ball. There's some urgency in the way that they're getting the plays run, and they had success on those last two runs.
Second and 5. Again, it's Starks. Starks picks up 2. Eddie Lacy, who is pressing his way toward another 100-yard day. The ground game's been so good, and that's because of the rookie who they picked up in the second round. This is a franchise that went 44 games without an individual rushing for 100 yards in a ball game. They've got 5 in their last 12.
I think this is a big third down for the Green Bay Packers. After the way they started this half, to have to settle for a field goal would be demoralizing.
Third down and 3. Flynn, end zone. Nelson for the touchdown. He took it away. Took it away from Skandrick. And Jordy Nelson's got his first touchdown from a quarterback this season not named Rodgers.
We saw this on Monday night from Orlando Skandrick. He's in a great position, but he just doesn't make a play on the ball. I mean, he's in a position to intercept the pass. Not only should this not be complete, it should have been intercepted. Monday night he failed to make the play. He fails to make the play here. Talk about giving this Packers team some life to start this second half.
It started with a 60-yard run by Eddie Lacy. Orlando Skandrick had a chance in the end zone. Cowboys just gave him a 2-year extension on Friday. Jordy Nelson gets the touchdown. That's his 8th of the season, and some life for the Pack here in Texas.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. And by Ford. Only Ford gives you EcoBoost fuel economy and a whole lot more.
We welcome you back to Arlington, Texas. That's a favorite hot spot for dinner. The Dallas area, as the Green Bay Packers go right down the field in a drive that lasted less than 2 minutes. Lacy with a big play as Terrence Williams takes a knee, and we go down to Pam Oliver.
Joe, we got a couple of injury updates for you. First, for the Cowboys, Justin Durant. We talked about him earlier with that hamstring injury. Well, it's aggravated to the point where he is out for the rest of the game. And you know about the flex at linebacker for the Cowboys. They have a little more. Linebacker Ernie Sims. He has a hip injury, and he's being evaluated. Status unknown. Back to you.
So they are getting so low on linebackers. Devontae Holloman, who missed 7 games with a neck injury. They've got a rookie, Cameron Lawrence. They cut Ori Lemon to get Edgar Jones active today. They're getting thin on that second level. The Dallas defense. Now Romo from the 20. Up by 16. Hands to Murray. So far, the Cowboys have been able pretty much to run at will against the Green Bay defense, a gain of 5.
I tell you, Ryan Pickett, he saved a huge run there. They gained 5 yards on the play, but Marco Murray had a lot of space out in front of him if he hadn't got him there by the ankles at the last minute.
Ryan Pickett signed as an unrestricted free agent from the Rams way back in 06. In the league now 13 years. Here's Bryant. Pass caught out of bounds, and we'll see where they mark him. Tramon Williams made the stop, and it's a first down.
Well, as we expected coming in, Des Bryant has gotten a lot of looks, and he's gotten a lot of balls thrown in his direction. He had a nice first half there, and Tramon Williams, playing off. And that was a pretty easy pitch and catch for the two of them. As you see, Des Bryant with that catch, for this game, he goes for over 1,000 yards.
Second straight season for number 88. Remember, the Packers are without Johnny Jolly as well, who's out with a shoulder injury. He suffered in the first half. On first down, Romo left alone is Bryant again. Des Bryant's got another Cowboy first down. Here's Joel Klatt with a game break.
Joe, let's head to Tennessee. Now, an Arizona loss would be good news for New Orleans and San Francisco. That would punch their ticket to the postseason. Delaney Walker is helping them out. 1-yard touchdown. Titans up 17-13. Joe and Troy.
Delaney Walker was questionable going into that game with an injury. He's had a big year. Former San Francisco 49er. First year in Tennessee. Now on first down. Romo hands to Murray. Over the right side. A good play made by Hawk. Why don't we look at the playoff picture in the NFC? Division leaders on your far left. Seattle won today big at MetLife, and you wonder if it's the first of 2 visits to MetLife Stadium in New Jersey for Seattle before the end of the year, the home of Super Bowl 48. New Orleans, they're in trouble today in St. Louis. Carolina's winning, so who knows where that's headed, because those 2 teams meet in Carolina next Sunday.
Under. 5 down.
Detroit leading the North. Dallas trying to tie Philadelphia on top of the East. Here's Bryant. First down again. Shields can't bring him down and needed help from M.D. Jennings. A gain of 16.
They just have not had an answer for these crossing routes, whether it's been the short drag routes like Des Bryant runs there or the deeper crossing routes with this man coverage. They've just not been able to keep up with the Cowboys receivers.
9 catches, 135 yards for Des Bryant. The new fullback Klutz in motion, handoff to Murray. DeMarco Murray is down near the 35. They'll mark him at the 36, a gain of 6.
This Cowboys offense answering. You know, they give up the touchdown to the Packers to start this second half, and then offensively you think that, well, all right, the Packers now have narrowed the gap to 16, and you know, what are you going to do offensively? And Cowboys have answered that, and they're on a nice drive.
Under. 50. Look it. 199.
Romo floats it. Bryant made the adjustment but could not make the catch as he flashed in front of Tramon Williams. 3rd and 5.
Well, Clay Matthews at the end of the play was able to at least get a little bit of pressure on Tony Romo and force him to hurry up the throw a little bit. But even with that, Tramon Williams in coverage, it looked like Des Bryant had an opportunity to make that play. Hannah, the one trying to block and keep Clay Matthews off of him. It didn't look like Tramon Williams got a hand on it. But the Cowboys have yet to convert on 3rd down, so at least the Packers were able to get them here to 3rd and 5.
Extra men on the rush. Romo backing up, throws it away. But a flag is thrown in the secondary. And it's going to be a hold against the Packers, which is an automatic first down.
Yeah, Jared Bush, we saw it earlier, and whether or not it should have been pass interference.
37 defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That was an easy one to call.
So the automatic first down. Mike McCarthy's been in the postseason 5 of the 7 previous years. He's been head coach of the Packers. Took over in 06, got his team with Brett Favre to the NFC Championship game. That freezing day at Lambeau Field and a loss to the Giants. Won it all in this stadium. The 2010 season, Super Bowl 45. Beating the Steelers. Here's Murray, left side. Makes a cut. Down to the 25. Boyd on the tackle, a gain of 6.
With DeMarco Murray, we saw his numbers. He's already over 100 yards rushing, and you know, he's ran the ball very well. This offensive line, Joe, you talked about them a little bit earlier, and you know, they had been kind of the piñata around here for the last several years, and probably rightfully so. Tony Romo was taking a lot of hits. They weren't running the ball all that effectively, but they have done an excellent job up front. And DeMarco Murray, as we've seen, when he gets his opportunities, he's a hard guy to stop.
2nd and 4. Murray tries this side. Runs into Witten, and a flag is thrown. Hawk is in on the stop. No gain, but a flag is down.
Holding, number 68, offense, 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
That is, Troy, only the 2nd holding penalty against Doug Free all year. He was a highly penalized player out at tackle last year for Dallas.
Yeah, when you talk about punching bags, none was bigger than Doug Free last year. He had signed a big contract, and he just quite simply didn't play very well. And so they looked around through the free agency market and saw who was available, and they thought, hey, you know, we'd like to keep Doug Free, but he did have to take a cut in pay, and he has played much better. And he's been a better run blocker than he has pass protector.
Here's Williams. Nice play made by Shields. Now 3rd down. How about the Seahawks? They've clinched their spot, and they are very close to clinching home field advantage for a team that just doesn't lose at home. Russell Wilson's never lost at home. 14-0. Pete Carroll, he's got that machine running. Schneider, the general manager. John's done a great job bringing talent in. Richard Sherman had at least one pick I saw today up against the Giants.
They got beat last week. They've had some challenging games, but man, they show up each week.
Now 3rd and 13. Beasley makes the catch, but he's tapped down by Micah Hyde. It's 4th down.
Yeah, so that penalty, the penalty hurts the Cowboys, and we'll see now what Dan Bailey's able to do. Once again, the Cowboys are able to move the ball, but the Packers at least keep them out of the end zone.
Another long try, 50-yarder coming from Bailey. He hit from 50 in the first half. He's 4 for 4. Kick is perfect. And Bailey is 5 for 5. Cowboys gave up 7, get 3 back. 3rd quarter in Texas. Aerial coverage provided by Nationwide Insurance. Above the turf here at AT&T Stadium, where the Cowboys lead by 19. Bailey kicks it away. He's just not allowing any returns. Aaron Rodgers, frustrated he did not get the start today, trying to pump up the team on the sideline. We'll talk more about Aaron when we come back on America's Game of the Week.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Walking with Dinosaurs. Friday, only in theaters.
This drive will start at the 20. Down by 19 for Matt Flynn. A blitz from the Cowboys. Packers pick it up with Flynn out to his right. Throws it away. The Packers and specifically Aaron Rodgers were hopeful on Thursday that this game would be his return to action. He felt good, but he underwent another CT scan on that fractured left collarbone, and he was deemed not ready.
Yeah, he said as late as Thursday night he thought he would be the starter, and came in on Friday and then was told they were going to put him down, and he was clearly disappointed. He was looking forward to his return here against the Cowboys.
On 2nd and 10, Lacey, who has a 60-yarder in this half, is good for 2. First guy there was Barry Church.
Yeah, you think about the Packers, Joe, and 5-2 at the time that he got hurt in that game against the Chicago Bears, and what's happened since. And you know, this team, I would think, as far as the backup quarterback position, is going to have a far different look next year, and this could have happened any season. You know, I mean, Matt Flynn had been the backup here for a while. They had Graham Harrell. I mean, they've had young guys. They haven't had veteran quarterbacks, and they've been very fortunate in previous years not to have the type of injury that Aaron Rodgers had this season.
3rd down and 8. Pass is caught. Nice catch. That's the tight end, Andrew Corliss. And on 3rd and 8, a big catch and run for Corliss of 22 yards.
Yeah, it was. They needed to make a play, and Andrew Corliss was able to do it. Matt Flynn stands in there. He delivers the ball, and those types of plays, when you have the opportunity one-on-one, you have to be able to make the catch, and Andrew Corliss does it, coming off a big game last week.
Career best 66 yards and a touchdown against Atlanta. On the toss, it's Lacey. Holloman can't get to him. Carr does. Let's go to Joel Klatt with a game break.
Joe, let's go out to Oakland, and the Raiders had just scored 21 unanswered points, but then Jamal Charles down the sideline, 71 yards for the touchdown. He's got 187 yards receiving today, 5 total touchdowns. First player in the NFL to do that this season. Chiefs up 42-31, Joe and Troy.
And on their way to an 11-3 record. which would tie Denver in the AFC West. However, Denver has the head-to-head advantage. Here's Lacy on second down. And a nice play made up front by this Dallas defense. A loss of 5, and it was Everett Brown who was added in season.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect that guy to make the play on this run. John Kuhn comes inside, but Bakhtiari, he just gets beat right away. I mean, had Bakhtiari been able to slow Everett Brown down at all, it looked like it was blocked up pretty well inside. But Everett Brown just beat him off the ball right away.
Now 3rd down and 10. Cowboys showing blitz. They back out. Flynn throws. What a catch by Nelson. A flag is down, but a one-handed, left-handed grab by Jordy Nelson. And a conversion on 3rd and 10.
You see Jordy Nelson, he starts like he's going to go across the field, back out.
Holding, number 32, defense. That penalty's declined. Play results in a 1st down.
They get Scandrick.
Yeah, it was a good call, and it's great concentration by Jordy Nelson.
So the catch, good for 21. And Green Bay is now at the Dallas 35. Looking left all the way. That's Jones. Carr knocks it down. Brandon Carr in good position. Earlier in the year, he had a rough day against Calvin Johnson and the Detroit Lions, a game that the Cowboys just let get away. Trying to not make that cost them dearly in the NFC East in the race with Philadelphia. Now 2nd and 10.
Well, the Cowboys talked about locking these corners up, especially Brandon Carr, and letting him play press man-to-man coverage, and they've held up. Even though James Jones on that last play, he had a chance if Flynn leads him up the field.
On 2nd down, Flynn has Boykin. And Boykin makes a nice move, and that's a 1st down at the 21. Went around Holloman, picked up 14.
That's a really good job of Jared Boykin, once he catches the ball, putting his foot in the ground and getting north and south to pick up the 1st down, because at the time that he caught it, he was short of the 1st down. A lot of times you see these receivers, they start bouncing around a little bit and they lose yardage and they don't pick up the 1st down. He went and got it.
From the 21 starts. First guy there was Carr. And it was Lawrence, Cameron Lawrence, who because of injuries was in at linebacker last week at Chicago, and now because of the injury to Durant and later Ernie Sims, it's Lawrence and Holloman, 2 rookies at linebacker for Dallas.
Yeah, they're awfully thin at that position, and hard enough tackling Eddie Lacy. James Starks, he's no picnic either.
2nd and 5. Flynn keeps it. Fires and finds Boykin. And these Packer fans who are still in attendance here at AT&T Stadium getting louder. A completion of 13 yards.
That was a well-thrown ball by Matt Flynn, and you see Jared Boykin, he's challenged the entire way. Get Brandon Carr running and then work back down the line through the ball, and he does it perfectly.
Boykin got more action when James Jones and Randall Cobb were both hurt week 6 at Baltimore. Made the catch, setting up 1st and goal at the 3. Flynn throws it away. With 1:13 left in the 3rd quarter, Packers trying to make this a game again.
I don't know what that route was right there, Joe. You've got James Jones and Jordy Nelson in the same spot on the field, and you got David Bakhtiari, who went down and trying to shake off whatever happened to him. But that route, you don't get receivers that close to each other in the end zone, and somebody didn't do what they were supposed to.
2nd and goal. This is caught for the touchdown, Corliss. Back-to-back weeks with a touchdown for Andrew Corliss. And the Packers are creeping closer. The extra point will make it a 12-point game.
You're able to split him out, a guy that's 6'4" and 250 pounds, and he gives you a big target then for a quarterback. And if that guy can get inside the coverage, as he was able to do, well, that's a clean look then for Matt Flynn.
How about the Packers? You talked about adjustments at half. Back-to-back 80-yard drives. And it's now a 12-point game. Corliss, a smile, why not? He's got a touchdown each of the last 2 games. Getting more interesting here in Arlington. Packers lost a big weapon when Jermichael Finley went down against Cleveland 8 games ago. That time he had 25 catches, 3 of them touchdowns, but Corliss picking it up the last couple of weeks. Taking it out of the end zone is Terrence Williams. And as it turns out, cannot make the 20. Knocked down at the 15 by Jared Bush. Take a break, come back, and the Cowboys will have it as the lead has been cut to 12. Quiet day for 2 of the game's premier pass rushers. Clay Matthews, a 27-year-old who has 6 sacks this season, and DeMarcus Ware, a 31-year-old who has 6 as well. Only 1 tackle each so far. No sacks, and Murray started to run before he made the catch. 2nd and 10. But some quarterback play from earlier in the day here in week 15. Matt Castle with a win over Philadelphia. His numbers: Kirk Cousins strong in defeat, and Colin Kaepernick with a win for the 49ers against the Bucs.
I tell you, I like Kirk Cousins. I know a lot of people in Washington do after his performance today. You mentioned earlier they went for 2, but RG3 grabbed the headlines last year. But that team wouldn't have been in the postseason if not for Kirk Cousins coming off the bench and doing what he did.
Here is one out of the reach of the tight end James Hanna. And so you don't run the ball. You're worrying if you're Dallas, you're up by 12. You're trying to take time off the clock. 2 incompletions, and there's still 55 seconds left in the 3rd quarter.
Well, this surprises me, Joe. I mean, you want to do what you do, but they have run the ball so well. DeMarco Murray is averaging over 7 yards a carry. And in this situation, yeah, you wish the clock is right now what you're trying to wind down if you're Dallas. They throw the ball 1st and 2nd down, both incomplete. Stops the clock. And they still yet to convert on 3rd down.
Could be a big stop for Green Bay. Romo is sacked inside the 5. Matthews was in there, but he wasn't alone. The rookie Dayton Jones. And the Cowboys are letting the Green Bay Packers gain more momentum now on defense.
Well, Clay Matthews is right here in the middle. He comes, and nobody's there to pick him up. He flushes Romo. Dayton Jones is there. That was a great job defensively by the Green Bay Packers of forcing a 3 and out. But a lot of that, the undoing of the Dallas Cowboys, I think, as far as strategy, 1st and 2nd down, throwing the ball, big mistake.
Jones hits it. Micah Hyde on Dallas's side of the 50 to the sideline and forced out of bounds around the 25 by Cameron Lawrence.
There's a few Packer fans here at AT&T Stadium, and they're letting them know they're here after this change of momentum. And Micah Hyde on this return, they were already going to get excellent field position off the sack. But now with a big return from him, well, they've just gotten right back in it, Joe.
They have, and you said it. There'll be a lot of people questioning the play calling on that last possession, a possession that lasted under a minute.
I was surprised on 1st down that they threw it, knowing how well they've run it and trying to get the ball game into the 4th quarter. But then after that incompletion, to throw it again on 2nd down, I was surprised.
Starting at the 22, Flynn. Lacey out of the backfield, a good play made by Barry Church. And that'll end quarter number 3. We've got a game here in the home of the Cowboys, who lead by 12. Back after this on America's Game of the Week. After this from your local Fox station. This great rivalry, it continues here. Rivalry that started back in the 60s with Lombardi. The great Tom Landry. Rolling forward through the years, the good matchups. Holmgren, Jimmy Johnson. It's come to Garrett, McCarthy in a ball game here in Arlington. 12-point game. 2nd and 13. After that play made by Church, here's Boykin. And Boykin fights his way inside the 15. We go down to the field and Pam Oliver.
Joe, the Packers are a little short-handed at tight end as they're down to 2 healthy ones in this game. Tight end Brandon Bostic, he got hurt in the 3rd quarter, was carted off. He has a foot injury and he is out for the day. Back to you. So
left only with Ryan Taylor and Andrew Corliss, who is coming off the touchdown the last time the Packers had it. Now big 3rd and 3.
Yeah, this is big, Joe, because if the Packers are able to come away with a touchdown on this drive, I mean, they put the pressure squarely on the Dallas Cowboys, cutting it to a 1-possession ball game.
Just got it away on 3rd down. Pass is caught by Corliss. He's got a 1st down. Cameron Lawrence on the tackle, and remember how thin the Dallas Cowboys are right now at the linebacker position.
Good patience there by Matt Flynn, knowing exactly what the situation was and where to go with the football with the coverage to pick up that 1st down. It looked like an entirely different offense since they came out at intermission.
No Sean Lee. He's out with a bad neck. And right now there's no Durant or Ernie Sims. It's Holloman and Lawrence. 2 rookies.
1-on-1 up top.
It's Lacy right side. And a good play made. Selby's the one who strung that out. A loss of 1. And Selby, who made that play, can't get up. And Lacy limps away. You see him limping, coming off a sprained ankle. The final play of the 1st half last week at home against Atlanta. So we'll take a break, come back. They check on George Selby. 2nd down for Green Bay when we return.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Pepsi. Live for now.
They took a long look at George Selby. He got up now on the sideline. Lacy been limping around on the sideline for Green Bay. 2nd and goal. The ball at the 11. Flynn keeps it. That's Starks. Starks, touchdown.
Initially, Joe, looking at this, I thought they were going to motion Jordy Nelson and go to him. They pack everybody in offensively. They go Jordy Nelson out wide, but they come back to Starks inside on the middle screen. But they motioned Jordy Nelson all the way out. They got the 1-on-1 on Scandrick. That's where I thought they were going to go with the football. But that was excellent execution. A good disguise window dressing it with Jordy Nelson in motion. That's a heck of a drive right there, getting that ball into the end zone.
They confirm the score. First touchdown catch of the season for Starks as he kept his knees up before he crossed the goal line. How about this? It's a 5-point game in Arlington. It was a 23-point game at the half. For the most part, all Green Bay since. We've got a ball game. Cowboys, Packers.
What's Flynn done in the 2nd half?
Kickoff coming. And the Cowboys will get it as the lead has now been cut to 5. Drive will start at the 20. The Green Bay Packers have outscored the Dallas Cowboys 21-3 in this second half, and this came out of nowhere, and Matt Flynn deserves a lot of credit for hanging in there after a bad start.
He does, and whatever Mike McCarthy said to him at halftime, he deserves some credit too, because they've made some adjustments. They've been able to, they got the running game going as soon as they came out. Matt Flynn has gotten into some rhythm. The defense on that last possession, they needed to make a stop because they were going to find themselves slowly running out of time, and the Cowboys did them a favor by throwing the ball in the first 2 plays, stopping the clock. But give the Packers credit for coming away with a touchdown with great field position on that last drive.
And then a big sack after those first 2 incomplete throws in the first 2 plays. The last time the Cowboys had it, DeMarco Murray gets 5. And we'll see now how the Dallas Cowboys attack this situation with over 12 to go in the game. And their lead down to 5 points.
Yeah, and you look at it with 12.5 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter. You know, for the Packers, the way that first half ended, you find yourself constantly battling the opponent and then also dealing with the clock. But because of the way that they came out and got touchdowns as quickly as they did, and the key stop, now the clock is no longer a factor.
Romo throws, pass is tipped and picked, intercepted. It's Tramon Williams on the return. Inside the 20. And now out of bounds near the 10. They're going to mark him just shy of the 7.
I think Jason Witten was looking for a flag. Brad Jones in coverage. He had that left arm on him, and after the play, Witten's looking at the official wanting a call. Tramon Williams is there off the deflection. Did he make the catch? I don't know about that, Joe. It looked to me like it moved when he went to the ground. They're going to take a look at that.
Well, it's a turnover, so they'll give it a look. And they're going to send Walt Coleman under
the previous play will be reviewed.
It's either an incomplete pass or the 3rd pick of the season for Tramon Williams. A big call when we come back.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Walking with Dinosaurs. Friday, only in theaters.
Walt Coleman has given it a look under the hood. We give it a look as we blow it up. Williams trying to secure it. Looks like the ball moves some when the body of Williams goes to the ground. Meanwhile, the Dallas Cowboys keep throwing the football. They're averaging over 7 yards a carry. But they threw it on 2nd and 5 at their own 25. The play was ruled an interception. And is there enough there to overturn the call on the field? Otherwise, if this goes into that category, Tony Romo, even though the ball was tipped, it's an interception. And Tony Romo would be faced with his 8th of the year. Let's go to Mike Pereira. Mike, what'd you see?
Hey, tough call. The issue here, Joe and Troy, is did he have total control first before the ball hit the ground, or was the ball moving, and then did he maintain control when it hit the ground? I kind of feel like there wasn't control there, but, you know, it would seem to me.
After reviewing the play, the ball went through the receiver's hands and hit the ground. It's an incomplete pass. It'll be third down at the 25-yard line. Please put 12:04 on the game clock.
Just that subtle movement of the football costs Mike McCarthy's team what could have been a huge interception by Tramon Williams. Instead, it's 3rd and 5. We welcome in a new audience. This game was 26-3 at the half with the home team, the Dallas Cowboys, on top. The Packers have outscored Dallas 21-3 in the second half, and they almost got an interception. The ball was ruled to have moved in the arms of Tramon Williams. They overturned the call on the field. It's now 3rd and 5. Dallas 0 for 7 on 3rd down in this game. Penalty flag flies as it looked like Green Bay came across. Was the player drawn off on the far edge?
Encroachment, number 96, defense. 5-yard penalty.
Well, it's a 5-yard penalty on 3rd and 5, and it's enough for a first down as Mike Neal came across too soon.
Well, they got Neal. It looked like Doug Free was rocking back a little bit on his heels prior to Neal coming across. Here's Doug Free. See that right knee knee buckled a little bit, and those guys, those pass rushers, they're just looking for any twitch, and they're coming.
That's a good catch by you. It looked like Free was moving, but Dallas gets the call now on first down. It's Murray, and DeMarco Murray breaks out. Penalty flag on the play at the end of it. A 22-yard carry, and it's against Dallas.
They got Des
Holding,
Bryant.
number 88, offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still first down.
They get Des Bryant on the hold, and it takes away what was a 22-yard carry by DeMarco Murray. For those who are just joining us, and it will be first down and 5 after the penalty. The ball back at the 35. The Cowboys trying to win here. Had the big lead at the half, trying to tie Philadelphia at the top of the NFC East. They meet in Week 17 here at AT&T Stadium. And what was a record-setting first half for Dallas, 332 total yards of offense, the most they had ever had in a first half. They've been shut down. Murray is going to draw a flag. Looked like on the tackle, Brad Jones got a face mask. A loss of 1 on the play, but
Personal foul, grasping the face mask, number 59, defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Just that turn of the helmet is going to get the personal foul every time.
Yeah, turn them just enough, and they don't have the 5-yard variety any longer. They're all 15 yards, and so that was a costly penalty there. But you know, you go back to the 3rd down play there, Joe, with the penalty on Mike Neal, where they failed to see Doug Free move, and that's a huge play right now in this ball game. 2 penalties that have resulted in first downs on this drive for Dallas. The call against Neal. Started it. Here's Witten downfield to the 25. He's got a touchdown today, and now he's got a big catch of 27 yards. Well, Jason Witten's as good as there is in the game, and the move that he makes on Brad Jones, he starts inside, sets up the route like he's crossing his face, and then gets vertical. Just the subtle things within the route that allow you to get open and create separation, and he does a great job against Brad Jones on that play and gives Tony Romo a place to go with the football. Cowboys answering. You expect to see more on the ground. We have expected that in this second half. Cowboys just keep throwing the ball. It's a safe throw to DeMarco Murray, who stays in bounds and is wrestled down inside the 25. Go back, Joe, and take a look at that 3rd down play right here on Doug Free. It's a good shot of it here where he rocks back, and those officials don't normally miss that. You know, those offensive tackles, they're right out there for these officials to see, and it's a huge break for the Cowboys. Cowboys have had tremendous success running the ball. They've run it 17 times in this game. They're averaging over 7.5 yards a carry, but they keep putting it in the air. 2nd down and 9. Romo, pass caught. That's Williams. Terrence Williams for the first down at the 11. Tramon Williams on the coverage, and a completion to the rookie of 12 yards. Good route by Tramon Williams there in the slot. Well, now it's for the Packers. I mean, you watch this clock as it starts to wind down, and it being a 5-point game, clearly a touchdown for the for the Cowboys would be huge.
The Packers can hold Dallas to a field goal. It'd be within 8. Romo. Pass broken up by Shields. Terrence Williams, the intended target. It's 2nd and 10.
The Cowboys, they look like they're running the read option back there. You know, Tony Romo, he rides the fake as long as he can to try to get everybody to bite, which is fine, but they're locked up in man coverage. So Sam Shields, he's not watching any of the action in the backfield. Good coverage there. Everybody wants a flag on every play.
Didn't get it. 2nd and 10. Cowboys have not finished drives in this game. 5 field goals, 2 touchdowns. Back to the air. Romo. Witten. Forward progress just inside the 6. Cowboys can get a first down without scoring a touchdown. It'll be 3rd down here for Dallas. After Williams and Burnett made that last stop, they have to get just inside the 1 for a first down.
And there's certain plays you look back on during a game and you say, hey, these were the differences in the outcome. This is one of those plays.
3rd and 4. Romo out to his right. Pass is caught. Dez Bryant for the touchdown. What a catch. What a game. And what a player.
I don't know how this ball got in there. I mean, it was all kinds of bodies, and M.D. Jennings never turns. A ball that was underthrown. They're trying to essentially double Dez Bryant, and yet he's still able to make a play. Tony Romo gives him an opportunity, and that's this guy's greatness right here. Dez Bryant, you talk about him and all that he can do. It's the competitiveness at the point of the catch that separates him from so many guys in this league.
Jason Garrett told us on Friday, I can't tell you how much I love Dez Bryant. The way he plays the game. Was upset on the sideline in that loss, a heartbreaker at Detroit earlier in the year. He's had some game. And Tony Romo gets his team down the field. A couple of big penalties on the Packers on that drive. Touchdown, Dallas. Here in Week 15, the Cowboys looking for their 8th win of the season to tie Philadelphia on top of the NFC East. Dez Bryant, 10 catches, 140 yards, and a touchdown. The big one moments ago to return this to a 12-point game. Let's look back at that last possession by Dallas. First, a penalty not called on Doug Free. It went against Neal. It was the near interception that was overturned, and then the touchdown on this play. So there was the interception overturned by replay. There were 2 first downs given by penalties on the defense of the Packers, and then the touchdown to Dez Bryant, who made that crazy catch over the defense.
Well, they missed the false start, but that doesn't mean the Cowboys needed to go down the field and score the touchdown. The interception overturned was the right call, and just a bad play on the ball by M.D. Jennings.
Here's Lacy. Lacy's got 11 and a first down. Barry Church on the stop. Still time left. 3 timeouts remaining for the Green Bay Packers, and back to that touchdown. How did Dez Bryant catch this ball?
You're going to see 2 guys in the same area, Joe. Normally you throw a ball up like this with all those bodies, good chance that ball's intercepted. You know, and it was underthrown, but, you know, hey, you can do things. You take chances to Dez Bryant, believing that he's going to make plays, and he's done it over and over and over. But the Packers, that's on them, giving up the touchdown there on 3rd down.
This is in the air and incomplete. By the way, that touchdown for Dallas was their first third down conversion. It came on third down. Romo made the play, and Bryant made the crazy catch. Now 2nd and 10.
We saw him run the ball on first down. I know that you don't want to just throw it, but right now with just over 7 minutes to play, you're down 2 scores. You got to get some big chunks.
Handed off to Lacy. He ripped off a 60-yarder to start this second half. That was a big chunk. Not here. A gain of 4. So third down coming up. Jarius Wynn on the tackle for Dallas. This game was 26-3, Dallas at the half. 3rd and 6. Blitz. Pass caught. Corliss, first down. Out to the 49. And they found Andrew Corliss 3 times in this second half. He has a touchdown today and now a 14-yard catch.
Yeah, another good conversion. We've seen him split out wide when he had the touchdown on the slant. They cut his split. He lines up in the slot. Runs a good route. It was a nice third down conversion.
Big for Matt Flynn. Grew up in Tyler, Texas, a Cowboy fan. Trying to break hearts in this stadium today. Pass caught. That's Jones. James Jones, who had a big catch in the first half, gained 7 here. He had a 39-yarder early in this ball game, the first time the Packers had it.
And James Jones could have been a little smarter on that play also. He had pursuit coming from the inside. He wasn't going to get much more out of that play and could have caught it and got right out of bounds to preserve some time.
2nd and 3. Lacy. The rookie's got a first down and more. Church made the tackle. And Lacy to the 34-yard line. A 10-yard carry by Eddie Lacy, who has a 100-yard day going here against the Cowboys.
Yeah, he's had some nice runs here in this second half. There's been some holes here on this drive.
Rookie's over 1,000 yards for the season, Eddie Lacy. And the first back to get there since 2009 for Green Bay. Pass broken up. James Jones the target, and we've said the name of Sterling Moore a few times, and he made that play. He had a pick in the first half.
He's been pretty good. Sure has. I mean, they've got some injuries. He's getting an opportunity to come in and do his job, and he's done it pretty well this afternoon. You know, the clock obviously stops there with the incompletion, but that prior play, Joe, a lot of time coming off the clock. I mean, you're running the ball, and then you're spending time at the line of scrimmage and get the ball snapped.
On 2nd down and 10, Flynn. Boykin, nice catch. Boykin down inside the 10.
Joe, we've seen Jared Boykin a few times in this game run really good routes, and you know he's not the fastest guy, as I said, but look at the adjustment to the ball that he makes. That ball's thrown to where Matt Flynn had to put it because there was pretty good coverage there by Brandon Carr, but Boykin's able to come back and contort his body and make a big play.
Clock continues to wind. 4.5 to go. 27-yarder to Boykin. Flynn. He's got Nelson. And Nelson doesn't get much. Skandrick with a quick tackle. 2nd and goal.
Well, this is a good drive that the Packers have going. I mean, this whole second half, it's been an entirely different offense from what we saw in the first half. The Cowboys haven't had an answer for the Packers here over these last 30 minutes, and they needed to come down the field and get a touchdown, and they're knocking on the door once again.
On 2nd down, Flynn comes back for the touchdown as he gets it to Jones. Looked right, came back to his left, and James Jones is in for the touchdown.
Well, a good job by Matt Flynn. He's trying to move defenders. You see him in the pocket. He knew where he was going. He wanted to give the impression he was going to go to his right, try to hold the linebackers, but all along knowing he's coming back to James Jones on that underneath route.
How about 4? second half touchdown passes for that man, Matt Flynn. Jones good from 3 yards out, just his 3rd touchdown of the season, and he didn't like the tackle by the rookie J.J. Wilcox as he grabbed him around the legs, spun him down, and that's why those two got up, got in each other's faces. This makes it a 5-point game. These two teams with so much history going face to face, nose to nose in Arlington. 5-point lead. Matt Flynn's coming off a win at home over Atlanta on a frigid day at Lambeau Field. He's got 4 second-half touchdown passes. This was a 23-point game at the half. Last time, Packers were trying to overcome that type deficit and got over the hump was an 82 against the LA Rams. Meanwhile, what's about to happen here, you have to think, is the Green Bay Packers are going to have to prove that they can stop the run, and the Dallas Cowboys are going to try and continue to run the ball as they have done with success here in this game. The drive will start at the 20. Greg Kinnear is coming to Fox in a new show called Rake. If Dr. House was a lawyer, it would be this guy. And you know he'll be getting into all kinds of trouble. Don't miss Rake. Greg Kinnear. Happy to have him at Fox. It premieres Thursday, January 23rd, right here.
Well, Joe, you say the Cowboys are going to run the ball here.
You would think.
You think they might want to do that. But we'll see. But you're right. I mean, there should be little question as to what the Cowboys are going to do on this drive.
Cowboys are averaging over 7.5 yards per carry, but have run it only 17 times. Romo keeps it. Going to air it out. Des Bryant shields in front of him, incomplete. Trying to take a shot on that first play. And they had pass a bit underthrown.
Well, they had him. You're going to see Des Bryant is by him, but the ball's a little underthrown. The other part of this, Joe, Sam Shields, one of the fastest players in the NFL. So if you don't drive that ball and really make Des Bryant go get it, Sam Shields is going to make up some ground, and he was able to on this play. And even with that, you know, when the ball's up in the air and you've got Des Bryant fighting with anyone for the football, you tend to think he's going to make the play. But Sam Shields recovered and, again, stops the clock.
So they take a shot. For Dallas, good if it works, but it didn't. Romo trying to buy time, does buy time, and finally goes down inside the 20, and it's Mike Neal who made the tackle. A loss of 2.
You give Tony Romo this kind of time, and he made a lot of it for himself. You better be really good then in coverage to plaster onto your receiver, and Romo just didn't have anywhere to go with the football. And I think Tony, rather than throw it away, I think he just wanted to keep the clock running, because at this point, you know, he had a chance to try to get it out of his hands.
Timeout taken by Green Bay. It's their first. Kevin Green.
He knows a little something about chasing quarterbacks.
Yeah, he was the outside linebackers coach for the Green Bay Packers. Mike Neal, who is a converted defensive lineman, is the guy who made that play. The drive started with 4:17 to go in the game. It's been a 20-second drive to this point. They lose 2 yards on the play by Neal. It's 3rd and 12. Marco Murray had a big day when he had a chance to run it. 3rd down.
Looks like the Packers are going to go with a 3-man rush.
Now they bring extra. Pass is caught by Des Bryant. Ball is out. And they're going to say he was down. There is no fumble, and Des Bryant has a 1st down. Maybe his biggest catch of the day. And they ruled him down by contact. No fumble. We'll take another look as Shields makes the tackle.
That's the right call. He had possession of the ball. That's what I initially wanted to see, is whether or not he had secured the catch, and he definitely did that. The knees down before the ball hits the turf and comes out.
Mike McCarthy, the head coach of the Packers, looking up at the big screen, which you can't miss, with a challenge flag in his hand. They're not throwing it. Big third down catch by Bryant. Now they run it with DeMarco Murray, a pickup of 4.
Well, the Cowboys with just 2 third-down conversions. The first, as you said, being on the touchdown throw to Dez Bryant. That last one, just their second conversion, but what a great one to get.
Now they look at Dez Bryant over on the sideline in this game. I mean, at halftime, we're milling around and wandering aimlessly in the back of the booth thinking, what kind of game, what are we going to talk about in the second half? All we've talked about is this incredible effort by the Green Bay Packers.
It's been a great second half. Matt Flynn, you know, however this game ends up, he should be proud of the way that he came back. The whole team should be, the way they came back and played here in this second half. I think they're all going to be asking themselves, you know, what the heck was that in the first 30 minutes of this ball game, because offensively they just couldn't get anything going. But you know, they were able to force the Cowboys to third down on that possession. Looked like they were in a great opportunity, and Tony Romo delivers to Dez Bryant for the first down.
It was a 13-yard catch on third down and 12. As Troy said, only 2 third down conversions. They've been big. Last 2 times they've had it. 2 conversions all game. Matthews can't get the sack, but Shields has got the pick.
Kidding me? Clay Matthews has a free shot at Tony Romo, and how he misses. And you think there's going to be a big play. Miles Austin has him beat off the ball. That's the makeup speed that I talked about, but the ball's thrown behind, and Sam Shields, who was a wide receiver at the University of Miami until his senior year, so he has ball skills. He makes a great play on that one.
I'm going to say it again. I mean, it was 2nd down and 6 after a 4-yard carry on first down by Murray. And why the Dallas Cowboys refuse to run the ball in this situation, it's inexplicable. The interception has given Matt Flynn the ball in midfield. The play calling of the Cowboys will come into serious question after this. Here's Corliss inside the 35. And the Green Bay Packers trying to stay alive in the playoff chase in a good spot down by 5.
Deep crossing route, and Matt Flynn hangs in the pocket. Andrew Corliss, they really have not had an answer for him. I agree with you, Joe, as far as the questions. Romo got him off the hook converting the third down. Then you think, okay, you're going to run the ball. They try to go for it again on 2nd down, and there's going to be a lot of questions to be answered.
Here's Lacy. Eddie Lacy inside the 30. Obviously, the Packers need the touchdown. And that play and a carry of 4 yards will take us to the 2-minute warning.
Well, and that's why they run the ball there, knowing that they had the 2-minute warning to stop the clock. Good idea there by McCarthy.
They also have a timeout. They need to get it in the end zone. What a game here in Texas. This holiday season is part of the league's commitment to celebrate and honor alumni players. NFL Homecoming spotlights the return of legends to stadiums across the country to access exclusive content and hear legends in their own words. Visit NFL.com/homecoming. It was in the game against the Denver Broncos when Tony Romo threw for over 500 yards, but an interception he threw with 2 minutes left that led to the game-winning field goal here by the Broncos. That's all anybody talked about. Well, an interception has given the Green Bay Packers life on a 2nd and 6 throw. Shields got the pick. And now 2nd and 6 for Green Bay. Here's Lacy left side. And Eddie Lacy is going to be out of bounds. It appears with another Green Bay first down.
Pretty interesting call there by Mike McCarthy on 2nd and 6 with 1 timeout left. You run the draw, get on the outside on the perimeter by James Jones. Not only does he pick up the first down, but he's able to get out of bounds. You see what's happened here on the last 4 possessions by the Packers. in this second half has been incredible. This is where Demarcus Ware, this is where he needs to show up. He was challenged this week. He's been a non-factor all afternoon.
From the 21, it's first down as the NFL's most maligned defense is trying to come up with a stop. Pass is broken up, but a flag. Barry Church and Andrew Corliss.
That's kind of where they've been going after the Cowboys. We talked about the linebackers and the injuries that they've had.
Number 42, defense. Ball we place to the spot of the foul.
Barry Church is the guy who comes up and makes a play that gets the flag, but no underneath coverages there. Young linebackers in the game, and Andrew Corliss has been working that middle of the field. Good part of the second half.
A minute 50 remains. Dallas with all 3 of their timeouts. Green Bay with 1. First down.
Hey, Roger.
Here's Lacy. Eddie Lacy, the rookie, down inside the 5. And now a timeout taken by Dallas. We have a new audience. This game is not to be believed. The Packers trailed 26-3 at the half. It was a record-setting first half yardage-wise for Dallas on offense, but it's been all Green Bay in the second half. They've scored touchdowns on all 4 of their second half possessions. The only touchdown for Dallas, that incredible catch by Des Bryant. But the Packers have outscored the Cowboys 28-10 in this second half, and there's the most recent play, the interception by Sam Shields, his 3rd of the year, none bigger. Packers trying to hang on in the playoff chase. Started the day a half game out in the north, and the league's last ranked defense is backed up. 2nd and 1.
I would anticipate Eddie Lacy again right here.
Instead, to the air. Jones overthrown.
Bad call, though, there by Mike McCarthy, going with play action, 2nd down, 1-on-1 outside. Give him an opportunity to get the touchdown. Not there. You've got 2 down still to pick this up.
But it does stop the clock. And Dallas is defensively now thinking along those lines. They used 1 timeout on defense. McCarthy's team can get a touchdown, they would go for 2. It's Lacy. Eddie Lacy can't get in, but it's a first down.
Yeah, that helps them, Joe. It helps them by not scoring, so they forced Dallas to use another timeout. And as you said, they pick up the first down, so they have a whole nother set of downs to work with. This guy's unbelievable. When Eddie Lacy gets hit in the hole, he just keeps his legs going. You know, what confidence Mike McCarthy has in this guy to not only give him the ball and have the clock continue to run, but trusting that he's going to pick up key yardage, which is what he's done throughout this possession.
Mike McCarthy's team now checks in B.J. Raji. He'll be a lead blocker on a 1st and goal play from the 1. 5-point game, 1:34 remaining, and only 1 timeout left for the Dallas Cowboys.
You know, right now you look at it from the 1-yard line and you say, you really want to score on this first play.
Hand off to Lacy. The rookie's in for the touchdown. And the comeback has Green Bay on top. And now a 2-point try from Green Bay to try and make it a 3-point game.
Yeah, they come back and you know, so much for maybe not wanting to score on the first play. They give the ball to Eddie Lacy. They bring in B.J. Raji, and he goes over the top for the touchdown. This 2-point play right here clearly is a huge play in this game. If they're able to come down with it, make this a 3-point game, they're at least then looking at overtime if Dallas just settles for a field goal.
0 for 2 on 2-point tries this season are the Packers.
And how do you not give this to Eddie Lacy?
Teams 2 for 2 against Dallas's defense on 2-point tries. Pass is incomplete. No flag. Corliss the intended target, and it was Heath, the rookie safety in coverage. It's a 1-point game with 1:31 left.
Looked like there might have been a grab at the top of this. We'll see. Well, they could have easily called Corliss with the push, but there was a pull of the jersey by Heath as well. Both these guys could have been called. The officials don't throw the flag. They let them play. So now Tony Romo has a chance to make amends on that interception with still plenty of time and 1 timeout. And all he needs is a field goal. A minute and a half is a lifetime.
Again, Tony Romo threw for 506 yards against the Denver Broncos. Was tied 48-48 with 2 minutes left in the game, but threw an interception. And people then jumped on him and said, same old Romo. He throws the killer interception. Well, here's a game where the Packers were down 26-3 at the half. The Cowboys have gone away from the running game, which is impossible to explain. And the Packers now have scored touchdowns on all 5 of their second half drives and lead by 1. And the game is in the hands of Tony Romo, who has 21 career comebacks in the 4th quarter or overtime. When tied or trailing, he's trailing by 1.
Talk about so much on the line here for both teams within their divisions and keeping playoff hopes alive.
Career long for Dan Bailey, 53 yards, which means getting it to the 35. He's got more leg than that. Here we go. Beasley made a nice catch and is going to hop out of bounds. They're going to mark him shy of the 30. Clock stops with 1:24 to go.
It was a great catch by Cole Beasley, an excellent route. It looked like he was going to be able to bring that one in, but he did.
He was awfully close to picking up first down yardage. They marked him a yard short of it. From the 29, passes incomplete. Tramon Williams, he thinks he had it.
He sure does.
The call immediately was that the ball hit the ground. We're inside 2 minutes. That would come from the booth as far as a challenge.
His reaction, Joe, this will be interesting to see what happens on the play, because the other one that they overturned, he didn't look quite so confident. This one, he immediately comes up and acts as though he definitely caught it, and so they'll take a look at this one upstairs.
Green Bay wisely called a timeout.
They shouldn't have to do that.
That looks like a good catch.
It looks like an interception to me, but anytime you're in 2 minutes, inside of 2 minutes on a play like that, how do they not shut the game down? That's inexcusable by these officials in the replay system.
Meanwhile,
Green Bay
this
will
ball,
not be charged a timeout. The buzz came prior to
it looks
him
like a clean interception all the way.
We will review the previous play.
We haven't seen anything on either one of those 2 replays to suggest that was not what could be a game-ending pick by Tramon Williams. We'll get the call when we come back. We're going to get the call after the booth review. The officials claim that they are going to give Mike McCarthy and the Packers a timeout back, that they did shut down the game because of this for the booth review, and this looks like an interception all the way, which would in essence end this game.
Yeah, he came out of this, Joe, and immediately he was asking for a review. Clearly it has to happen from upstairs, has nothing to do with Mike McCarthy, but you could tell by his reaction that he believed that it was a clear interception, and by everything that we've seen, it was. Now here's what happened on the play. This is when he was short of the first down, but on the interception, Cole Beasley pulls up. It was a trap defense by Tramon Williams. Tony Romo's expecting him to stay on the route, stay on the move. He pulls up, which isn't necessarily the wrong thing because of Tramon Williams playing the coverage he was, but a miscommunication is what led to that.
Here comes the call by Walt Coleman.
After reviewing the play, the receiver had two hands under the ball, completed the catch, rolled over for the interception. And the Green Bay's ball, 1st and 10 on the 32-yard line. Please put 1:22 on the clock, please.
This is going to go down as one of the worst defeats in the history of the Dallas Cowboys. And again, I go back to play calling offensively, not running the ball when they had the lead, when Green Bay showed they couldn't stop the run.
I think it goes back to that sequence, that possession right before the end of the third quarter. 3 consecutive passes. The third one led in the sack. Packers get great field position, but that's when it really began, and it never got any better.
The season is not over for the Dallas Cowboys, and it certainly isn't over now for the Green Bay Packers with this come-from-behind win. They trailed 26-3 at the half. And finally an exhale from Mike McCarthy. They're at home against Pittsburgh, then at Chicago. Des Bryant has left the field. The Dallas Cowboys, meanwhile, are at Washington, taking on Kirk Cousins. And they racked up yardage today at Atlanta, and then at home against Philadelphia. The Dallas Cowboys have to wonder what just happened here in the second half as the Packers just continually pounded the ball in.
Well, Joe, there's games that, you look back on and you're disappointed that you weren't able to win, and there's a play here and there. And this one, really, it's hard to explain. I mean, the Packers, hey, give them credit. They went down the field and they came away with touchdowns. A great job there in that second half. But the management, the clock management by the Cowboys, about as bad as I've seen.
The Dallas Cowboys gave up touchdowns on the first 5 possessions for the Green Bay Packers in this half. And for Dallas, their worst defeat as far as a comeback is concerned was 24 years ago against Detroit, when the Lions came back. Against the Dallas Cowboys. It was a 24-point comeback then. That was 2 years ago against Detroit. Tony Romo and this offense, a lot of explaining to do with regard to the play calling. This, a 23-point comeback and a 1-point win for Green Bay. We'll take a break. Come back after this.